guys, this is Joel Kennedy with Kennedy Violins. Today we're going to talk about the left hand. Okay guys, so we're going to talk about the left hand in today's video. Now there's a lot of videos that I could do on the left hand. It's a pretty in-depth subject, and I'll probably do some videos in the future that go into a little bit more detail. But today I'm just going to focus on two of the fundamental aspects of the left hand in particular. Number one, where does your left hand go on the violin or viola? And what is the shape of your hand? So especially if you're a beginner, these are two characteristics of your left hand that are really going to determine a lot of your success in the future at being able to play what you want to play. So I would suggest putting some tape on your instrument, violin or viola. Put some tape on where your first finger goes. Now, if you're super comfortable with your first finger goes, maybe it's not necessary, but if you're not super comfortable or you want a visual representation of where to put your fingers, that first finger tape is actually going to help a lot, because where you put your first finger and your thumb on your instrument, well, they're basically dictated by the kind of the same reference line on your instrument. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So first of all, if you get some tape, you can buy some tape at a craft store or, I don't know, maybe Walmart. You can get some thicker tape and you can just cut it in little strips. You can use, or you could just, go to like our website, kennedyviolins.com, and we've got some fingering tape that you can purchase. But basically it's just, thin strips of tape, and you'll just, go underneath your instrument here. You put underneath your strings and you carefully place it where your first finger goes, and then you just, wrap it around the neck. And it just will make it really easy. Okay, so there's four primary things you want to keep in mind for where to put your hand on your instrument. Okay, so number one would be your thumb and your index finger are friends. They always stick together, okay? So if you've got that little first finger tape on your instrument and you put that first finger down, your thumb is going to be a little, it depends on your hand, right? Everybody's got a different hand. But generally speaking, your thumb is going to be directly across from your first finger and maybe a little bit back. So it'll be a little bit back, but directly across from your first finger. And the thing to remember is that wherever your first finger goes, your thumb follows, all right? They're joined at the hip. So first position, second position, third position. Now, when you go to the upper positions, then you have to break that rule because of just the way the instrument is. But in general, you want to remember that thumb goes right behind or directly across from that index finger. Okay, another really important thing to remember about your left hand is, okay, now that you've got it in the right spot, right? That first finger, you know that when you go to play your instrument, you've got that first finger where the first finger goes, and that thumb is going to be right across from that first finger. Now you want to be thinking about the shape of your hand, right? So what I'm talking about is this shape right here, this arch. Now you have like a little tunnel, right? If I'm teaching like a little kid, I'll say, oh, there's a little birdie in there or something like that. Don't crush it, all right? So basically you want to keep the shape of your hand consistent on all of your strings. Always keep the shape of that hand consistent. So if you're in first position, remember, if you shift to second, that thumb moves with the index finger and you keep the shape of your hand. If you go to third position, that thumb moves with the index finger and you keep the shape of your hand. Okay, another really important thing to remember is you always want to play with the tips of your fingers, right? No matter what string you're on, you're playing with the tips of your fingers. Never get into a bad habit of collapsing some of your knuckles, right? Sometimes when we go to another string, maybe the third finger or the fourth finger, we might collapse them because maybe they're weaker, at the joint. Never collapse them. Always be on top of those fingertips. And that means that you're going to have to keep your fingernails trimmed. Okay, so the last thing that you want to remember about the left hand placement on your instrument is your thumb. Now we've already talked about how it's really important that your thumb stays with your first finger and it goes with it wherever you go. So that thumb and that first finger placement basically dictates how your hand is on your instrument, okay? But how you place the thumb on your instrument is very, very important, okay? So there's two schools of thought. Now, some people play with a high thumb, right? Meaning their thumb is kind of up here. So that first joint in your thumb goes past the fingerboard, or is pretty close. And then you have the other school of thought, which is to keep the thumb down here. Now, The style that I use is to keep my thumb down here, mostly because I'm a violist, and most violists will probably play with this way of doing it. However, I find that most conservatory students, whether it's Cleveland School, Juilliard School, whatever, I see a lot of the most great graduates and a lot of the soloists these days are using this style of thumb. So, and players like, Anne Sophia Mutter and Sarah Chang, they both play with their thumbs down here for the most part, and they don't really bend their thumb, all right? So bending your thumb can lead to trouble. So generally I keep my thumb relaxed, and I place the violin basically a little bit below the pad of the thumb, okay? And remember, it goes directly across from your index finger, right? And you will keep this the same. Now, once in a while, your thumb will want to, bend a little bit here and there. If it's nice and relaxed, that's okay. But your goal is to not do this. As soon as you do this, you are in a danger zone for creating tension. So if you bend your thumb. Now, there's some great players who get away with bending their thumb quite a bit. Some people who have this technique would be like Hilary Hahn. Hilary Hahn does tend to put her thumb up, as well as like Itzhak Perlman. But generally, I'd say most of the modern players these days are being taught to put their thumb down, and that's also a way that I play as well. So anyway, so you'll put your thumb down here a little bit. You put the neck, basically on the pad. And remember, it goes directly across from your index finger, okay? So now the only time it changes is when you shift, and then you have to bring that thumb down, but that's another video, okay? Okay, so how do you ingrain this proper technique into your mind? Well, the easiest way to do that is scales. Now, I know in my videos I've talked a lot about, scales and the importance of scales, the importance of warming up, and this is no different. And the beauty of it is that if you practice your scales slowly and make it a part of your warm-up routine, you can make this technique better. There's so many, by incorporating a warm-up routine that starts off with some kind of easy scales or easy exercises, that's an opportunity for you to ingrain in yourself the kind of technique that you want to learn. So play really slow scales. Could be 1 octave, 2 octave, 3 octave, whatever it is. But if you're having to kind of reteach your left hand how to function properly on your instrument, just play slow scales over and over and over again, making sure that every time you go to another string, right, that thumb, it always moves. Every time you shift, your thumb stays with that index finger, right? As long as you do that, then it's going to be ingrained in you, and then you won't forget, okay? The other thing to remember is never bend your wrist. I should probably mention that, right? So every time you're shifting on the instrument, don't bend that wrist. So you just keep that wrist straight, keep that first finger on that first finger tape with the thumb across from it, and you'll be good as gold. So guys, I hope I was of some help today. And I'm kind of curious, what kind of problems or challenges you guys have with your left hand? Is it where to put your fingers? Is it where to put your hand on your instrument? Let me know. And always, hey, give me some ideas and some future videos that I can do. And don't forget, you want to hit that subscribe button if you like the free content you're getting, and just hit that little alert bell so you get a notification. And don't forget, here at Kennedy Violins, we're all players and teachers. So we're always happy to answer any kind of questions you guys have anytime. Thanks, guys.